Right, diving into the Gabby Petito case today, huh?
Yeah, it's a story that really got to everyone.
It sure did.
And I think the Netflix docuseries does a good job, getting past just the headlines.
Yeah, American Murder,
Yeah.
the Gabby Petito story.
Yeah.
Really trying to get into what happened, in a deeper way.
Absolutely.
I have to admit, I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
And just glued to the screen.
Yeah, it's one of those you can't turn away from, I think a lot of people, they know the basics of what happened.
Right.
But the docuseries uses her journals, her text messages to really give you a more personal view of her life, of her relationship with Brian Laundrie.
I mean, that's what got me right. I remember when this was all happening, seeing all over social media, the van life, and this happy couple on this adventure.
Right.
I remember thinking, man, what a dream.
Yeah, it's how social media works, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's putting their best foot forward, kind of a curated, picture of what's really going on.
Perfect, yeah.
But then in the documentary, you see that contrast, the insta-perfect, and then
what's really going on.
The darker side of things. And it's pretty startling.
Yeah.
Because you hear from, friends, family, talking about his behavior, possessiveness, anger problems.
Oh, wow.
This was all going on behind the scenes,
It's so disturbing, right?
Yeah.
You just see these happy faces on Instagram, and you have no idea.
Exactly. And it's like the director, Michael Gasparo, he said that, Gabby was trying to find herself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, behind the scenes, there was this darker reality.
Yeah.
It's really sad because, you see how hard she was trying to make things work.
It is. It's heartbreaking. And then, that police encounter in Moab, Utah.
Oh, yeah.
That was rough.
That was hard to watch.
The witness calling 911 after seeing them arguing.
Right. Outside the grocery store?
Yeah. And the body cam footage.
Oh, it's tough.
Yeah. From the police.
Yeah. They're both upset. You see signs of, them getting physical.
Yeah.
It's obvious something's really wrong.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the police, they thought Gabby was the aggressor.
Yeah.
So they separated them for the night.
Makes you wonder, right? What if they done something else,
You can't help but think, could things have gone differently?
Yeah, the documentary shows all that footage for the first time.
It does, yeah. And it makes you question, how the police handled it. Could they have done more to help Gabby?
It's like watching it now, knowing what happened.
Yeah.
It's just, it's devastating.
It is. And the story just keeps getting darker from there.
Because she disappears just a couple weeks later. Last time anyone saw her was August 27th.
Yeah.
And then those weird texts from her phone. I mean,
they didn't really sound like her.
Like, was she even sending them?
It was really strange.
Yeah.
And then Brian shows up back in Florida alone in their van.
In the van.
Won't talk to the police.
Wow.
And it just blows up. I mean, the media, everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
Social media, everyone's trying to figure out what happened.
It was all over the news. It was like the whole world was just waiting to see what happened.
It really shows how powerful social media can be in these cases.
Right.
On the one hand, it spreads awareness. People get involved, helping with the search.
Right.
But it can muddy the waters.
Yeah.
With all the rumors, the misinformation.
Right. Yeah. Definitely a double-edged sword.
It really is.
It really did. Yeah. It just blew up even more.
And then the news that, no one wanted to hear.
Right.
Her remains were found in Wyoming.
Yeah. I just remember feeling so sad when I heard that.
Awful. Yeah. And with all the media, all the theories.
Right.
It's important to remember Gabby's family.
Yeah.
They're the ones going through this, unimaginable pain.
You really feel that watching the docuseries.
Yeah.
They interview her parents, her friends. It's really moving.
It is.
They're sharing their memories, their grief, and they want justice for her.
Yeah, and I think the documentary does a really good job of making Gabby, a real person.
Right.
It's not just these headlines. She had dreams. She had struggles.
Yeah.
Just like all of us.
And they use her own words, right?
Yeah, from her journal, her texts.
It's like you're getting to know her.
Right. It's not just the media's version.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about domestic violence. It's something that unfortunately doesn't get talked about enough.
Right. It's like this case, it really got people talking.
It did, yeah.
About domestic violence. And the documentary really digs into that.
It does. It makes you think about the warning signs, how complex it is, how we can all maybe do something to prevent it.
We need to be talking about it for sure.
Absolutely. And one thing I found really interesting is how the docuseries looks at Gabby and Brian's relationship.
Oh, what do you mean?
it goes deeper than just saying, he's the bad guy, she's the victim.
Right.
It doesn't excuse what he did, of course, but it tries to understand the dynamics.
Yeah, the dynamics of their relationship.
The complexities of domestic violence, how it got to this point.
It's not about making excuses, it's about trying to learn from it.
Exactly. And that's where Gabby's own words are so important. Her journal entries, her recordings.
Yeah.
They give you a glimpse into what she was going through.
Right.
It reminds you there's always more to the story.
Yeah, it's like she's able to tell her own story.
It's powerful. It makes you think, after it's over, about bigger questions like, how do we deal with domestic violence better?
Yeah.
How do we help the victims?
Right.
How do we learn from tragedies like this so they don't happen again?
Those are tough questions.
They are.
But they're important.
Yeah, and I think this deep dive into Gabby's case, it's given us a lot to think about.
It really does. Yeah, I think a lot of people are probably asking themselves that.
Yeah, what can we do? What can we change?
Right.
And I think the first thing is just awareness.
Yeah.
Recognizing those red flags, the signs of domestic violence.
Right.
Understanding how complicated it can be, and that it can happen to anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think the documentary really shows that it's not always so clear-cut.
Right, it's not black and white.
There's so much going on.
It really is. A lot happens behind closed doors, and it can be hard to see the signs, especially if you're in the middle of it.
Right.
We need to learn more, pay attention, and make sure victims feel safe to speak up.
And not judge them, for not leaving a situation that maybe seems obvious to someone on the outside.
It's so hard to leave an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
It's complicated. There's no easy answer, and every situation is different.
Right.
We have to be supportive, understanding, not judgmental.
So what can someone do practically if they're worried about someone? A friend, a family member who might be in a situation like this?
There are some really good resources out there,
Yeah.
like the National Domestic Violence Hotline.
Right.
They can help victims, their families,
Okay.
give advice on staying safe, connect them with local resources.
So important.
It can be a real lifeline for people who need help.
And I think even if you're not, an expert,
Yeah,
you can still do something.
absolutely.
Just listen, believe them, let them know they're not alone.
Sometimes that's all it takes,
Right.
Just having someone who cares, who doesn't judge.
And if you're really worried about their safety,
Yeah.
get help,
Don't hesitate. Reach out to professionals.
Right.
They know how to handle these situations. They can give support and guidance.
That's what I'm taking away from all of this. We all have a part to play,
We do.
in stopping this from happening, whether it's being more aware, learning more, supporting someone we know,
Right.
or fighting for change. We can all do something.
Gabby's story is so sad, but it reminds us.
Yeah.
We have to be vigilant, speak up, work towards a world where this doesn't happen anymore.
I think that's a good place to leave it.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone for listening to this deep dive into the Gabby Petito case. It's a tough story, but it brings up some really important things we need to talk about.
It does.
We hope this has given you some things to think about, maybe even inspired you to take action.
I hope so.
Remember, even small things can make a difference.
They can.
Keep learning, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.
Absolutely.
Until next time.